All right, it seems like those that are sitting are sitting. Those that want to stand, more than welcome to hang out there. Good afternoon, and thank you for attending our second annual Outlook event. Excuse me, my name is Mark Ansara, Managing Principal, Partner at Advantage Commercial Real Estate, and also a retail advisor. I focus solely on retail acquisition, sales, and leasing and vacant land. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank JD and John Lokes and the entire Studio Park team for hosting us today. Thank you very much. Can't find a better venue when it comes to intimacy for a great crowd like this. So thank you guys very much. I'd like to thank Josh and his team from Sidecar Studios. They have did the video for us that you'll see later and also doing our filming for us today. So if you need any video production needs, Josh is in the back. I'd like to thank our panel, which you'll hear about more in a little bit. Kara Wood, Randy Thalen, Mike McGraw, and a last-minute addition at 10:30 this morning was Kyle Kuipers. Mike Hausman was on our panel, but had a family emergency, had to go out of town. So thank you for stepping in so quickly here as well. Be remiss not to thank our entire Advantage team from our partners, advisors, and our marketing and research team for putting this together. It's no small task to put an event like this together. We started working on this the day after last year's event, so we're here again today, and we hope to be here again next year as well. So thank you to our Advantage team. Reminder that there will be networking and food after this as well, and it's so nice to go somewhere on a Monday afternoon at 3:30 working with an open bar. So thank you to the Advantage team for making sure the bar won't close today. So it's my pleasure to introduce Kara Wood, who doesn't need a ton of introduction herself. She is the Executive Director of Grand Action 2.0. Kara has more than 22 years of urban economic development, government relations, and community development. Whew. Wait, there's more. She is a high-performing senior-level executive with a highly proven track record of developing strategic partnerships and executing complex organizational objectives. Kara is deeply involved in the city of Grand Rapids and has helped create and implement many of the initiatives that have sparked substantial growth throughout our local community. She is an expert in economic policy, equitable community, real estate development, and business development, and public and private partnerships. We are fortunate to have her here today, and we are excited to hear her insights and predictions for the future of commercial real estate in our region. Kara.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mark, and thank you for that introduction. I'm not really sure who wrote that, but I'm not an expert in anything, as all of you might already know. But it's great to see so many familiar faces, friends, and colleagues that I've worked with over the years. I have enjoyed a great career here in Grand Rapids, and I'm thankful to be back in this new role. I joined Grand Action in July of last year. So I'm happy to share with you a quick update and a little bit of history about the organization and where we're headed over the next several years, because we have a lot of work ahead of us, and hopefully all of you will be able to be part of that work. So Grand Action 1.0, some of you may remember the history of the organization that was started by Dick DeVos, John Canepa, and David Fry. So we were fortunate to have those leaders in our community that had the foresight to say there is important work to be done that isn't getting done specifically by government or institutions, but collectively we all have a vision for a greater Grand Rapids, and how we deliver that vision is something that is special about Grand Action. It's a unique organization. Not many regions have them, and certainly this public-private organization has had some great success. So the unique mix of business leadership that led the grand vision and some of the historical transformational projects that you have all enjoyed, the convention center, the arena, and other activities all the way to the most recent one, the downtown market that we all know and love. Those are transformational projects that wouldn't have been possible without their leadership and their vision. So certainly you can say that they had some profound effect on the community, and in 2017 they basically went dormant for a short time. after all of these investments. So their history of $422 million of investment in the community, leveraging a significant amount, almost $300 million of public investment, which is critical. So these projects aren't done alone by the private sector. It's intended to leverage the activity of the public sector as well. So pretty significant collaboration that wouldn't otherwise have happened without their strong leadership and commitment to this region. So like I mentioned, in 2017, they pushed pause, unveiled what was at that time called the Destination Asset Study. So there was a significant amount of research and study done of the region and the city as to what was necessary to take this region to the next level. And they looked at all kinds of things, from arts and entertainment to sports and transportation, other infrastructure elements that are really important to the success of this region, and unveiled this study at an economics club meeting. It was at that time that there was starting to be a rumbling of interest in having Grand Action really restart their engine and get back to work, because who was going to do all of this work? There was a 10-year plan outlined, a significant amount of activity that nor public nor private could do alone. And so Grand Action did begin the conversation in earnest, because there was so much pent-up energy and excitement. Because if you don't continue the momentum, there will be a sharp, abrupt halt to the growth of our region. And so thankfully, the new leadership of Grand Action 2.0 kicked off their work in earnest in 2019. So Dick DeVos is still one of the founding co-chairs of Grand Action, still involved today. Carol Van Andel has stepped up in a leadership role as a co-chair, and Tom Welch has also joined the team. So these are the three individuals that are responsible for the leadership of the organization and have placed their trust in me to help move things along quickly for them. It's a tough task, but they obviously saw something special in my experience and expertise to be able to continue that conversation moving forward. That being said, the board that supports these co-chairs is much different than it once was before. So the organization that Grand Action 1.0 was is much different. So we now have 23 executive board members that are representative of the community that we intend to grow. And we also have 25 additional advisory committee members that are not involved on a month-to-month basis, but more on a quarterly basis in supporting the work of Grand Action. So the good news is we're back at it, and the team is different. And I would say their focus has changed a slight bit too. A little bit about the region that we live in. This is probably information that you are well aware of and may know better than I, but our population growth is exciting. We're one of the few growing cities in the state of Michigan, but certainly we don't want to stop there. We want to look at ourselves against the Midwest and the United States. But our population growth is something to take note of, and we want to continue that momentum. So this destination asset study and the work behind all of those elements will be what continues that momentum forward. Our median age is much younger than other regions in the Midwest, which is great. A median age of 31 years old is right where you want to be if you're attracting talent and also growing the existing talent base that you have. We have a significant college student population, which is the next generation of our young professionals and those filling roles that are coming up as businesses grow. And we're an affordable place to live as compared to other communities our size. And certainly across the US, there are other great cities that have assets like ours that are much more expensive to live in. Most recently, we're one of 4 of the best cities to start a tech career, according to Yahoo Finance, which is great. The technology industry here in West Michigan is growing, and we're seeing a lot of support there for growth of existing technology companies and companies that are getting into more technology as their businesses grow. So some of the current trends we're seeing, again, this shouldn't come as much of a surprise, but certainly there are specific data points behind these that you should be aware of. So like I mentioned, the population growth is accelerating, and we need to continue that momentum. So we need to keep and capture that interest in the region so that existing residents want to continue to stay here and invest, and that we attract new talent as a result of the exciting things that are happening here in the region. I mentioned the age demographics becoming younger, which is an exciting element to that growth population. We're seeing higher visitor traffic downtown, obviously since the pandemic for sure, but even more importantly, as a result of all the work that Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. is doing to program the space in different ways to make it exciting for people all over the state of Michigan and outside of the state of Michigan to come enjoy a lot of the elements of what we've got going on downtown in all seasons of our year. The hotel stays and rates are increasing, so hotel stays are increasing, which is great because of the lull we had during the pandemic, but more importantly, the nightly rates are increasing. So we're seeing those rates increase, which then presents more hotel motel tax available for the exciting activities that the county invests in. We're seeing a high increase in renter demand, which is an exciting element of the growth of downtown, but certainly the housing availability is also a challenge that we face as a result. Lots of people now want to live here, and there is a shortage of housing. We've had a lot of recent developments that have taken place, and a lot of big swings that are taking place in the downtown area specifically, but even out in the county as well. So big investments, recent developments signaling even more interest in this as a region, and a good place to make investment. And on the real estate front, some recent transaction momentum. So some projects that were developed maybe say in the last 5 to 6 years have now changed ownership, and we're seeing increases of value upwards of 35%, which is healthy. This is all a good indication of new investment coming into the region, but we need more. So we've had a few transactions that point to that, and so as a result, we're sharing that externally, as I hope you are as well, with your clients. Look, there are really great things going on in Grand Rapids, and so you too could be part of this. Just a little quick overview of what Grand Action's been working on the riverfront. Grand Action's just one of many partners that are working on the riverfront. So we have about 30 acres, just a little under, I guess, 30 acres in total. The blue area is all publicly owned. So this is city-owned land and operated currently. The green is private. These riverfront sites offer this downtown a great opportunity. It's the largest proposed redevelopment of a riverfront in the nation at this point. It's a substantial amount of riverfront frontage, and as you all know, the Whitewater project is moving. It nicely complements what would happen on the dry land. And so we're trying to advance plans for a 12,000 seat amphitheater. We're in a theater. And this would provide additional connectivity on the trail system. So this is a link that doesn't currently exist. The public doesn't have access to the river at this point, which is imperative. To have this many acres of publicly owned land used for public works is unfortunate, but we're on a mission to change that. In addition, we're also working to add some density to the riverfront. This is, highly valuable land, highly desirable green space. So there is an opportunity for additional density, and all of the planning that's led to today certainly points to added density and utilization of that riverfront connectivity, and even potentially connectivity across the river so that we can reach both sides of that bank. A little bit more detail on the riverfront sites. This shows that greenway that is being retained by the city and hopefully improved for access. There are 7 acres at the private site for future development. The 11.5 acres in yellow there, that is specifically where the amphitheater is proposed. And so the Convention Arena Authority is working to close on that property with the city very quickly so that we can begin the process of allowing the city to relocate to their new location. The 5.4 acres in the pink, that is still city-owned, and they will be able to offer that for redevelopment. Hopefully more density, housing, commercial use as well. Something that will complement the amphitheater site itself. And then 2.5 acres south of the rail bridge is also city-owned. Again, another great opportunity for additional density and housing And then the 1 acre spot on the blue, that's a surface parking lot currently. Again, more opportunity for future development. So we think that, the next several years, this project is really going to take a lot of investment, a lot of development, and you may have experienced the construction holdup on Market as we relocated the storm sewer out of the property itself. We saw that as really the first step in pointing to how we begin the process of making these sites ready for redevelopment. So a little bit more about the amphitheater and how we're beginning the process of establishing some design guidelines and really unveiling what will be the Grand Rapids amphitheater itself. So with community input and some research and analysis, these are the design drivers that really helped frame what the amphitheater will look like, how it will interact with the rest of the property, the river, and the community as a whole. So this is a unique location, of course, and with the river being right there alongside of it, we want to make sure to provide opportunities for unique venues that will have access to the river, access to commercial activity, retail, and other things, so that maybe as people kayak down the river, they're able to pull their kayaks out of the water, whether it's lock them up, go up to Founders, come to a show, or just drop an anchor in the river and hang out, because you'll be able to hear the music, I'm sure. We want it to be a world-class entertainment venue. So part of the destination asset study really called for this in a way that is a higher level entertainment venue than what we currently have in the community. So it won't compete with anything we currently have existing, but offer yet another venue for artists to hold their events. So making sure that the infrastructure is designed to support something that is a great regional attraction and probably something that will bring in folks from across the state and even hopefully the Chicagoland area. We want it to be more than an entertainment venue. So it's providing public access to the river. It's providing green space that doesn't currently exist. It'll have some street level retail to encourage daily activity, and it won't be something that is only open on the days which it is programmed. And that's a really important aspect of this project because it is a community asset, and it will spur all that additional activity on a regular basis. Grand Action has a well-known ability to create architectural icons. So some of their recent projects have shown you that. You see it in the convention center, the arena, the downtown market. So of course we want this to add to a collection of art here in the community and be a recognized architectural gem and a structure that people recognize when they're driving on the highway or they're coming downtown. Oh yes, that's the amphitheater site. And then draw them in, give them a reason to come see the site, access the river, enjoy the green space. We want the project to contribute to the vibrance and growth of downtown Grand Rapids, certainly in designing and programming the space in a way that allows for options to promote a sense of community within the downtown. So it's actually expanding the downtown in a way that doesn't currently exist. So more space for things to happen, events, and allow for events to expand into the amphitheater site as well. And then of course, Grand Rapids and its way of embracing environment, the river, sustainability, making sure that it is an economic, environmental, and social impactful venue, and making sure that we design the negative impacts out as best we can, and improve and increase the positive ones through the design, the material selection, operations, and programming of the site itself. So I think, too often we think a traditional amphitheater, I think this will have a very different look and feel once it is open. So these are the elements that we've gathered. This will be what guides the architects and engineers in designing the actual structure. I can share with you that all of the photos that you've seen to date are no longer accurate. We've continued to evolve in our thinking, and actually what you see in any of the publications are outdated. So we're getting really close to having updated drawings that will hopefully reflect all of these design drivers and more. So there's been a lot of work since, I think the policy conference is where Tom and Carol unveiled a beautiful visual, an artist rendering of the site, but that too is outdated. So the good news is more is coming soon. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me to be able to share with you. In fact, I haven't seen it myself. Our architects would probably not be real happy with me if I even alluded to what it might look like. But I can tell you that it's exciting work, and it is definitely influenced by the community input and the data and all of the research that goes into building great venues. With that, I would be glad to open it up for questions or comments.
I saw the yellow space in one of the pictures along the river.
Mm-hmm.
Are those buildings that are currently there going to be demolished?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those will be demolished, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, those are currently city facilities that are operational, but those will have to go away as a result of the project kicking off. Mm-hmm.
Is there an amphitheater that this has been modeled after that we're striving towards?
Sure, I can share with you some of the sites that were looked at when, not really modeling, but certainly gathering information. We did a lot of best practice study on what is currently out there, what to do, what not to do. Ascend Amphitheater outside of Indianapolis. I'm trying to think of the other one. Downtown Nashville. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's an urban location on a river.
What about timelines? You guys talked about that enough?
Sure, I can share a little bit about timeline. So we're currently in the schematic design phase, and there are multiple phases of design, but this is a critical one that we're in. We have completed the proof of concept, and we're in probably the second month of schematic design. A lot depends on how long it takes the city to move off the site, and so we're working through that timeline, but we fully expect that we'll hope to get things underway even yet this calendar year.
Is there any part of it that can be utilized in the winter?
Oh yeah, winter use. So World of Winter, I think it's still going on, or maybe this is the last week of it. But we fully expect that the space will be able to be programmed in the winter months. Sledding Hill, the lawn will be an incline, so the backside of that serves as a nice sledding hill. But it certainly has the ability to service a space the size of Rosa Parks Circle. So not that we would put in a second sheet of ice and have ice skating, but there could be other activities in the park as well. Other questions about the amphitheater project or the work that Grand Action has done to date? It certainly has been a challenge. A lot has changed, as all of you know. Your industry has changed just in the last 12 months, and we continue to ride those waves. But we're hopeful that we have the right team in place to move this forward. And although we've got a lot of design yet ahead, probably at least another 10, 12 months of design work to complete, we're not taking slow steps. Anytime we can advance quickly, we are. And we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to deliver a high quality product that will compete with the likes of the convention center, the arena, downtown market. The standard has been set high, the expectations are great, but in order for the city to grow, in order for the region to grow, we have to take ourselves to the next level. And this is the kind of work that I get excited about because it's only going to spur additional commercial activity around it. More housing development, more retail, more employers will be able to attract new talent, will be able to retain the existing talent. This is really what this work is all about.
What is the seating capacity and how long will the season operate? How many seasons of the year will it operate?
Sure, so the seating capacity will be 6,000 fixed seats and 6,000 seats in the lawn. So a 12,000 seat amphitheater is how it's characterized. And there'll be a variety of different price points, including VIP experiences in addition to that. So 12,000 is really the seating capacity itself. Now, that being said, with the public space on the backside of that hill, individuals that enjoy the public green space might be able to hear the concert but not be able to see it. And certainly we want people to be able to enjoy it wherever they're at in the city. And so we recognize that there's a benefit there too. So people that may not want to buy a ticket to the show, but hang out in the vicinity, that opportunity will exist as well.
Kara, you got public-private on the amphitheater, and will the multifamily that you're envisioning, is that gonna be private? How is that gonna work out?
Great question about the housing. So we do envision that this amphitheater site will also have some other element of density, hopefully housing, but certainly any type of commercial density to complement the site, and that will be privately owned and operated. But we haven't gotten to the level of detail to be able to say specifically what it's gonna look like, just that we've got to have a partner to do that. We're responsible for the amphitheater itself, and then the density will be complemented by a private development company.
Are there any milestones on what Grand Action's working on here that tie into the Whitewater project and potential removal of dams or revisioning what the riverfront looks like?
Great question on milestones. So nothing that aligns exactly. Certainly, we're tracking with the Whitewater work and recognizing their time schedule, but there isn't anything that would prohibit us from proceeding, nor prohibiting them from proceeding either. So we're kind of working along parallel tracks and checking in with one another along the way. The greenway retained by the city is not actually part of the amphitheater project that the Grand Action team is working on. Certainly, we recognize the value of it and the importance of integration on planning and construction and development. But there could be a chance that if the funding doesn't come into place for the greenway, that may be a second phase or a future phase. Our hope is that it's done in conjunction with, but there's a lot of planning work that still needs to take place there.
Is Grand Action involved in any way of the expansion of the south end zone at Van Andel Arena and/or the proposed soccer stadium?
So the question was about Grand Action's involvement in the expansion of the arena and/or the professional soccer stadium. So I can share with you that, no, we are not involved in any of the expansion of the arena. So that's an asset that's owned, operated, and maintained by the Convention Arena Authority, and their plans for that work are wholly sit with their body at this point. The Destination Asset Study from 2017 did call for amateur and professional sports. Professional soccer was called out very specifically. And yes, Grand Action did take on professional soccer as a project for them, building a professional soccer stadium. And we are in the early planning stages of identifying sites for that and confirming a site. We haven't done that at this point, but certainly we are involved. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much for the opportunity to share about Grand Action and the work that we're doing. Hopefully next time you'll get an update with some really awesome visuals and just a rendering of what our exciting work has been to date, and hopefully you'll be able to engage in it. There's a lot of opportunity for participation, and we look forward to that in the future.